everyone, I am Lori Kutsch. Welcome back to another Makers with Heart Mystery Envelope Challenge. This month's envelope came from Jessica, and we have a lot of leeway this month, and it's great. Of course, she's using melon, which is our color of the year, but our guidelines are neutrals: white daisy, French vanilla, black toffee, etc. We can use as many of those as we want. Since it is September and it's National Stamping Month, the number of extra paper we can use besides neutral is based on how many different stamp sets we use. So if we wanted to use 3 different stamp sets, we can use 3 different pieces of paper. And if we use an old favorite stamp set, no, I'm sorry. If you use, we can use a favorite stamp set and then use all the melon dots, and we can use any other embellishment that we would like. So let's get started. This is what we were given: some melon cardstock, and I'm horrible with the colors. Canary, I think this might be canary. I'm not 100%. And then we got these dots and then this cute doily. I am not going to be using these 2 things on this project, so I will set those aside to use on another. I did bring in, of course, my card base. I'm going to use that, and then I have already pre-cut a piece of toffee cardstock at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to fit over our card base, and then a piece of French vanilla, and I cut that at 3 3/4 by 5. And then I'm going to cut this piece of melon at 4 by 5 1/4. So let me just do that right now. I believe it's already at 4. Pretty close. Just a smidgen. And then 5 1/4. So that's going to end up being layered like so when we're done stamping. The next thing I am bringing in is one of my favorite stamp sets because of how versatile it is and how beautiful it is. I just haven't used it yet. So we're going to learn together. I am bringing in the Writing in the Sand stamp set. And so you have your ocean waves here, you have your sandy beach here, and then you have your sayings. The minute I saw this in the catalog, I had to have it, but I've kind of been too scared to use it because it looked kind of complicated. So let's learn together. Because of the nature of this stamp set, you're going to want some sort of stamping platform because you're going to do multiple stamps over and over and over. So I have my, the one I have, it's kind of like a Misty. I don't have a Misty, but this will work similarly. So I'm going to just anchor it at the bottom because I'm going to start stamping at the top. Oh, these magnets are super strong. And I don't want this to move at all, which is why I am putting 2 of them on here. So I'm going to take what will be the ocean waves, and I'm going to put that right here, and I'm going to line that up there. I'm laying it right on my piece of paper that I'm going to use on my card, and then I'm just going to pick it up with the stamping platform. And you just see why the magnets are there. You don't want it to move. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm using Harbor and Carolina ink. So I'm going to ink the top portion, I hope you can see this, the top portion of my stamp in the Harbor. And I'm not going to go all the way down with it, and you're going to see why here in just a second. Get good coverage. And it's okay if you don't, because we're going to come back and add ink to this. I am going to grab my stamp chamois and clean the ink I got on my platform off. I am now going to grab a dauber and my Carolina ink and stamp or ink up the bottom part. And I'm going to overlap just a little bit into that harbor in various ways, like depths, because waves are never the same and their colors are going to be variant. And I'm going to put a lot of ink here on the edge because I want the border of that water to be very bright. I'm just going to come back up into our harbor a little bit. And then I'm going to put it on our card. You're going to rub it all over. Get a really good stamp on that. And you see I have some open areas where I will want more ink in there. So I'm just going to re-ink up that area of the stamp. And I do have a dauber for the harbor ink as well. I'm going to go around that so we make sure we don't get too much of the Carolina in there. And I'm just going to make sure I get that real area where I missed before. Get that real good. Much better. So I am happy with how that looks. Now I'm going to clean off my stamp. And I'm going to then, we're going to work on our sand. So our sand piece is going to go at the bottom, so I can move my magnets. Holy cow, these things are so heavy. They're so strong. And I'm going to overlap it right over. You can see how it lines up. I'm going to just overlap it a little bit because we don't want a gap between our sand and our water. Pick it up. So the first color I'm going to use, I'm using 3 for the sand. We're going to start with shortbread. Just going to stamp the whole thing in shortbread. And then I'm going to add some toffee. So I'm going to add some toffee kind of in the middle-ish areas. Again, in random, not a straight line. And then I'm going to add espresso at the bottom. So the sand further away from the water will end up being darker, and it will just kind of variegate into the darker sand as it moves away from the water. love how that looks. So I don't even need to redo anything more on that one. I like how it came out. Just gonna wipe off my stamp set with my stamp chamois. And isn't that cute? I'm not done with this though, because remember she said we can add another embellishment if we use the melon gems, and we're going to do that. So the next thing I'm going to use though is, I like the saying, an ocean breeze, put your mind at ease. So I'm going to stamp that on a piece of, this is the French vanilla from where I cut the, what we're going to use is the card base. I'm just going to stamp that on here and pick that up with my stamp set. I'm going to stamp that in, I think we're going to go with the Harbor because I want to match the ink. So I'm going to put it off towards the left side because I want to put a dovetail on it. Is that going to be long enough? I'm going to do it this way because I want to make sure I have enough room for what I want to do. The next thing I want to add is a touch of, well, hold on. Let's cut this first. So I'm going to put this right about here. And if it's too long, we can adjust. So I'm going to, this is roughly almost a half an inch from the bottom. So I want this to be about a half an inch from the top so that our saying looks centered. Wasn't a perfect cut, so we will try that again. It moved a little bit on me, and that little tiny bit will drive me insane. There. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit of a dovetail on there. Nothing too big. And then I'm going to take an extra piece of the melon that I had. And so this is, let's see how long this is. This is just a smidge under 3 3/4 by whatever that line is. Do you guys ever measure that way? That's how I measure. Oh, that line. So I will take that and go like this. I'm the worst at measuring. Don't ask me measurements. And then I said just under 3 3/4. And it's going to be close enough. It does not have to be exact. And I'm going to put a little bit of a dovetail on here. Again, and you know what? I want to trim this just a smidgen narrower. And then I'm going to dovetail it. Okay. So this is going to end up like this. So I'm using the lighter side of the melon here. But before I do that, I want to find one of our shin hand markers, and I don't think that's going to be close. Let's see. No, that's a little too bright for what I want. I should have done this before. Okay, so I'm using the True Blue shade in dark. And I'm going to just do like a little stitched line around the border. It's not an exact color match, but it's close enough. Okay. So I'm going to just put some adhesive down on this, but I'm not really sticking it down yet. That is not sticking at all. I guess I didn't get any off of there. Didn't get any. So I'm gonna, what I want to do is I want to come longer on this side so that you don't see it. There. And then I am going to take our gems and add them right along the edge here. So I got 2 big ones and a smaller one, and down here I'm going to put the medium size and then the 2 tiny ones. And because I used all of our melon dots, we get to add another embellishment, and that embellishment is going to be clear shimmer brush on the waves. And just kind of going over it lightly. I don't want to smear the ink, but I do want the water to sparkle. And if you think you need to add more glitter, do it on a scratch piece of paper so that it doesn't spit out all over your card. So I'm going to get this going. And just add some shimmer onto our waves. Because when the sun hits the water, it sparkles. Now I'm going to put our card together. So I have the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 toffee. Then I'm using the bright side of the melon. Then I'm going to put our water. And then, because I always have to use some sort of puppy tape, I'm going to put our embellishment down with some foam tape, just some leftover pieces from shaker cards. And I don't know where I want to put this. I like the whole card. I don't want to cover any of it up, but we're going to put it up here. And there you have it. An ocean breeze puts your mind at ease. So that is my mystery envelope challenge for the month of September. Thank you, Jessica, for the great options that you gave us. If you have not yet, click subscribe. Please do that now. You'll get notified each time I post a new video. And then be sure and go and watch the other 6 makers with hearts to see what they've done with their papers and their mystery envelope. We got the same thing. So we all were given the same exact things to use. And I'm sure that you will be inspired with what they did with it. So thanks for watching. Hope you come back and check out my video again. Have a wonderful evening.